Artifacts of dread enter if you dare. You can feel it, can't you? That unsettling presence, that cold shiver down your spine when you step into a room that just feels wrong. Abandoned asylums, haunted houses, forgotten graveyards. We're obsessed with the places where the veil between our world and the other side wears thin, but what about the objects? The relics of the past, the things people leave behind, they hold energy too. Today we dive into the dark world of cursed objects and their terrifying stories. Are you ready to tempt fate, to face the unknown? Because once you open your mind to the possibility of cursed objects, there's no going back. The Dybbuk box, a portal to pure evil. Let me tell you, there's something inherently unsettling about a box you're told never to open. It's like a Pandora's box, filled with unknown horrors waiting to be unleashed. The Dybbuk box is one of those things, a simple wooden wine cabinet that's said to house a malevolent spirit, a Dybbuk in Jewish folklore. This spirit is believed to be restless, seeking to attach itself to the living. This isn't just some spooky story. This thing has made grown men weep and beg for the lights to be turned on. The fear it instills is palpable, almost tangible. It all started in Poland back in the 1930s, a time when the world was on the brink of chaos, and dark forces seemed to be lurking in every shadow. A Holocaust survivor, whispering on her deathbed, claimed this unassuming box held something evil, something that could latch onto the living and wreak havoc. Her words were filled with a sense of urgency and dread. She insisted it remained shut, sealed away forever. Her warning was clear. Opening the box would unleash untold horrors. But you know how curiosity works, right? It's like a siren song, drawing you in even when you know better. The temptation to peek inside was too strong for some to resist. The box changed hands a few times, each owner experiencing a string of horrifying events. It was as if the box carried a curse, bringing misfortune to anyone who possessed it. Unexplained illnesses, vivid nightmares, even swarms of insects, things that would make your skin crawl. The experiences were so bizarre and terrifying that they defied logical explanation. One owner, a guy named Kevin Manis, reported feeling an oppressive presence, a darkness that seemed to seep from the box itself. It was as if the box had a life of its own, a malevolent force that could not be contained. He even claimed to have seen a shadowy figure lurking near it. This figure seemed to be a manifestation of the evil within the box. Manis, clearly shaken, decided to gift the box to his mother. Bad move. He thought he could rid himself of the curse, but it only brought more suffering. The poor woman suffered a stroke the very day she received it. Coincidence? Maybe. But the timing was too eerie to ignore. But when you're dealing with something like the Dybbuk box, you start to question everything. Every strange occurrence, every shadow, every chill down your spine. The box eventually ended up with a guy named Jason Haxton, a museum curator. He was intrigued by its history and the stories surrounding it. Haxton, a skeptic at first, found himself plagued by strange ailments and disturbing dreams. His health deteriorated and he began to fear for his sanity. He reached out to rabbis, experts in the supernatural, to perform an ancient ritual to seal the Dybbuk back inside the box. The ritual was his last hope to end the torment and contain the evil once and for all. The Hope Diamond Beauty's curse. Now, some cursed objects don't just whisper evil, they practically scream it. Take the Hope Diamond, for example. This thing's got a rap sheet longer than my arm, and it all revolves around one chilling theme: bad luck. I mean, we're talking centuries of misfortune, enough to make even the most hardened skeptic think twice. This isn't just some dusty old gem. It's a 45.52 carat blue diamond, a stone so dazzling it could light up a room. But that brilliance, man, it comes at a price. Legend has it, the diamond was once the eye of a Hindu idol, ripped from its socket by a thief who met a gruesome end. And that's just the beginning, folks. Over the centuries, the Hope Diamond passed through the hands of kings and bankers, socialites and thieves, each owner seemingly struck by tragedy. We're talking financial ruin, violent deaths, even insanity. One of the most chilling tales involves a French merchant named Jacques Collet, who met his demise at the hands of a disgruntled customer. Even the seemingly untouchable Evelyn Walsh McLean, a Washington socialite, wasn't immune. Today, the diamond sits safely behind bulletproof glass at the Smithsonian Institution, a silent testament to the darkness that can cling to even the most beautiful things. Chapter 3. Annabelle more than just a doll. Now look, I know what you're thinking. A doll? How scary can a doll be? It's just a toy, right? Something meant to bring joy and comfort, not fear. Let me tell you, Annabelle isn't your average plaything. This doll has a dark history that will make you think twice about ever bringing one into your home. This thing is the stuff of nightmares, and it's been giving people the creeps for decades. It's not just a story. It's a real-life horror that has affected many. The story goes that Annabelle was a gift, a seemingly innocent Raggedy Ann doll given to a nursing student back in the 1970s. A sweet gesture that quickly turned sinister. But it didn't take long for things to get weird. Strange occurrences began to unfold, leaving the student and her roommate baffled and terrified. The doll started moving on its own, changing positions, even appearing in different rooms. It was as if it had a mind of its own, defying all logic and reason. But it got worse, a lot worse. The unsettling events escalated, turning their lives into a living nightmare. The student and her roommate started finding handwritten notes, messages scrawled in childish handwriting that sent chills down their spines. These notes were not just random scribbles, they were cries for help. The notes pleaded for help, claiming that the doll was possessed by the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins. This revelation added a new layer of horror to their ordeal. The girls, terrified, contacted paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. They needed answers and, more importantly, a solution to their terrifying problem. The Warrens, after witnessing some seriously creepy activity, concluded that Annabelle wasn't possessed by a little girl at all, but by a malevolent, demonic entity. This entity was using the doll as a conduit to wreak havoc. It's said to have attacked a friend of the roommates, leaving him with unexplained scratches and welts. The physical evidence of these attacks made the situation even more alarming. The Warrens, fearing for everyone's safety, took Annabelle into their custody. They knew they had to contain the evil before it could do more harm. They even built a special case for it at their occult museum. This case was designed to keep the malevolent spirit trapped and prevent it from causing further chaos. Visitors to the museum have reported feeling uneasy around the doll, some even claiming to have been scratched or pushed by an unseen force. The aura of fear surrounding Annabelle is palpable. The legend of Annabelle has only grown stronger with time, fueled by movies and documentaries. These stories have kept the fear alive, making Annabelle a household name in the world of the paranormal. Annabelle, my friends, is a chilling reminder that evil can lurk in the most unexpected places. It's a story that continues to haunt and terrify, proving that sometimes the scariest things come in the most innocent packages. Chapter 4. The Bassano Vase, a Gift of Death. Let me tell you, some things are best left untouched. The Bassano Vase is one of those things. This isn't just some dusty old relic. It's a 15th century Italian vase crafted from silver and said to be a death sentence for anyone foolish enough to touch it. We're talking a string of unexplained deaths, all linked to this seemingly innocuous object. The story goes that the vase was a wedding gift presented to a young bride in a small Italian village. But on her wedding night, the bride was found dead, clutching the vase in her lifeless hands. Tragic, right? But that's just the beginning, folks. The vase passed from family member to family member, each owner meeting an untimely and gruesome end. Some died from sudden illnesses, others from freak accidents. It seemed like a curse followed the vase, claiming the lives of anyone who dared to possess it. As the body count rose, the vase gained a reputation as the vase of death. Eventually, it was decided that the vase had to be hidden away, locked away where it couldn't harm anyone else. Legend has it that the vase was buried in an unmarked grave, its evil contained beneath the earth. But some stories claim that the vase resurfaced years later, its curse as potent as ever. Chapter 5. The Crying Boy Painting, a Trail of Tears and Fire. Now, I've seen a lot of creepy things in my time, but there's something about this next cursed object that gets under my skin. It's not just the eerie look of the painting, but the dark history that surrounds it. It's not a haunted doll or a cursed diamond, it's a painting, a mass-produced print of a crying boy that's been linked to a series of bizarre fires across England. This seemingly innocent artwork has a sinister reputation. It all started back in the 1950s when a firefighter noticed something strange. He was no stranger to house fires, but what he found that day was unlike anything he had ever seen before. He'd been called to put out a house fire, a pretty bad one, and while sifting through the rubble, he came across something that sent chills down his spine. Amidst the destruction, there was an anomaly. It was a print of the crying boy, untouched by the flames, hanging on a wall amidst the charred remains of the house. The painting was eerily pristine, as if it had been shielded from the inferno. Now that's creepy enough, right? But it gets weirder. This wasn't an isolated incident. Over the next few years, firefighters across England started reporting the same thing. They were baffled by the recurring phenomenon. They'd find these prints completely unscathed in the ruins of homes ravaged by fire. It was as if the painting had some sort of supernatural protection. The stories spread, and soon the crying boy became synonymous with bad luck, a harbinger of fire and misfortune. People began to fear the painting, believing it brought disaster. Newspapers picked up the story, publishing accounts of the fires and the eerie presence of the painting. The media frenzy only fueled the legend. People started talking, sharing their own stories of misfortune after acquiring the print. The tales of woe and destruction seemed endless. Some even claimed that the boy in the painting would move his eyes, following them around the room. The painting seemed to have a life of its own. Panic set in, and people started throwing their prints away, burning them, anything to get rid of the cursed image. The fear was palpable, and drastic measures were taken. To this day, no one knows for sure why the crying boy is linked to so many fires. The mystery remains unsolved, leaving room for speculation and fear. But one thing's for sure, this painting has left its mark on history, a chilling testament to the power of suggestion and the very real fear that a simple image can evoke. The legend of the crying boy continues to haunt those who dare to look into its sorrowful eyes. Outro, do you dare to believe? We've journeyed into the dark heart of the unknown, explored the unsettling stories of objects that seem to carry a darkness with them. While not everyone believes in curses, it's hard to dismiss the fear that these objects inspire. It makes me wonder if maybe some things are better left alone. The sheer volume of stories, the eerie coincidences, the unexplained phenomena, it's enough to make you question everything. What do you think? Have you ever encountered a cursed object or experienced something that defies explanation? Share your stories in the comments below. Let's explore the darkness together.